We're seeing unprecedented changes in both supply and demand in our electric grid. PJM is projecting 40 gigawatts in load growth and 40 gigawatts in retirements. That's a net change of 80 gigawatts. In PJM's own words, the math is not good. On top of that, most of the currently planned electricity generation is from wind and solar, which cannot and does not run at maximum power nearly as long as sources like nuclear, natural gas, and coal can. Mr. Clark, in your experience in the utility industry, have you ever seen changes at this scale and pace?
Mr. Chairman, in the 25 years that I've been involved in it, no. Your point of 40 gigawatts of retirement, to put that in perspective, that would be something along the lines of the entire installed summer capacity of the entire state of New York that you're losing at a time that you have increasing demand. I've talked to utility companies who've said when they are looking at their planning for the future here, they have new just data center demand seeking to be interconnected, which is equal to or in excess of their entire installed capacity of their system today. Now, will all of that come online? Probably not, but even if it's even if it's 50% or 25% of the projected increase, it's a lot, and will be something that utilities and regulators and Congress is going to want to be thinking about.
Thank you for that. Mr. Dion, the challenges differ in traditional and vertically integrated states like South Carolina versus competitive wholesale regions like PJM. Which regions or market structures might be better suited to handle the scale and pace of the change we're talking about?
Mr. Chairman, I think let's start with the RTOs and those areas. They were formed about 2 decades ago, and they had the different problems that they were solving for primarily efficiency and efficiency gains. So when you look at those regions, you have to look and talk about maybe that some of the things that need to change out there are in and around their incomplete set of tools. Right? They cannot direct construction of generation. They cannot prevent generators from retiring or, as Commissioner Clark talked about, leaving the market, and they can't control how long it takes. Additionally, they have hundreds of voting members and stakeholders. So I think one of the things that we have to talk about is to say, while it's important for folks to have a say in the process, it's worth considering, are those are those numbers just too large to manage? In regards to the adequacy, we have a long history in our business of working with communities, working with local governments, working with local constituents, and solving these problems. And so I think that in each of those situations, as Commissioner Clark mentioned, each of the regions are different. And so therefore, you've got to work with those local communities, you've got to work with those local regulators in order to get the generation and transmission sited that works best for that particular region.
Yeah, thank you for that. As I said in my opening statement, we'll not be able to meet the challenge of this demand growth unless we embrace an energy expansion. This means pipelines, natural gas, nuclear, and of course, transmission lines. Mr. Hassenbohler, you mentioned in your opening statement China's growth. But to my knowledge, China doesn't have to deal with NEPA or the Endangered Species Act or litigation slowdowns that are faced by both producers, transmission lines, pipelines, utilities, et cetera. So do you agree that we need to expand the size of our natural gas network by both adding pipelines and generation?
Yes, Congress needs to make it easier to build all types of infrastructure that underpin the digital economy.
Yeah, thank you for that. Your testimony mentions innovative arrangements and structures for clean, firm baseload capacity. How can the electricity customers you work with help with the build out of new nuclear to meet this new demand?
Yeah, this is really a great example of collaborative planning when you bring together utilities and customers, and the federal government really should explore ways to further look at these types of options. Specifically, large customers, what's happening with the Duke Energy tariff is that it allows large customers to directly support carbon-free generation like SMRs and advanced nuclear through innovative financing strategies and contributions that reduce project risk to lower the cost of emerging technologies. It's a voluntary program. It's so there are protections for ratepayers who are not involved and other customers who are not involved. But it is the type of innovation that's frankly going to be needed in all the different types of markets, both the regulated and the non-regulated states, to allow these types of companies to come to the table to be part of an active part of the solution in lowering costs and bringing out this kind of technology.
Thank you for that. I will say this, I was happy to see Secretary Granholm really embrace nuclear, talking about traditional light water reactors, but those take decades in development and construction, just like we saw how long it took Plant Vogtle to actually come online in fruition. I'm concerned about the minerals, the mining, the need for copper for transmission lines. I believe we need more power generation in this country. We all like renewables. I'm an all of the above guy, but also know growing demand needs to be met with more baseload dispatchable generation, and we're going to do everything we can for that.